right, it's time for an album now that I've really been enjoying. And, it's one of those things where I didn't want to do an album review because of how much I've been listening to this. And I always feel like once the album review gets out, I move on to the next album so I can, start to work on that album review. So, yeah, I was kind of dragging my feet for that very reason. So, okay, let's just actually get into it and let's dive in. The Fox and the Bird by OK Goodnight. So OK Goodnight is a progressive rock metal band from Boston, Massachusetts, formed out of Berklee College of Music. They were founded in October of 2018 and released their first single, Rapture, on March 30th of 2019. And that's right off of their wiki forum. So this is their third full-length album after their two singles released in 2019. So you had Rapture and then Think Again, and then Limbo was their first full-length album, followed up by Under the Veil, and now we get The Fox and the Bird. This is my first experience with this band, and I've been really diving into it. I feel as though OK Goodnight is kind of at the crossroads between aggressive, very bombastic metal style of things and more of the storytelling indie rock that we would get from bands like The Decemberists, Murder by Death, and that kind of style of music. And the kind of like the modern prog movement with bands like the Deer Hunter kind of has that kind of flavor. And you can see where lines have kind of been drawn in that sense. But what I really, really appreciate is with all these different blending of styles and genres, it doesn't come out as complete garbage or complete whiplash when we're getting into a lot of these songs. And because we are dealing with so many different animals, because, this kind of is a tale of a bunch of animals in the forest, you have a lot of different styles and song structures. Like there's a couple of hunts that are going on based on survival. So you get both the prey and the predator. And I really do have to give a massive shout out to Casey Lee Williams as the lead vocalist on there. Casey's vocals are just hauntingly beautiful. And not only is she able to command a very soothing, very angelic vocal works, but man, once she takes on the narrative style of like the predator or the frightened prey, she's got this very guttural and very like yelling and screaming, like I will rip out your throat and you don't deserve to live. And, it's very menacing and very haunting in that sense. Even I feel like there's this predatory aspect that I'm like, oh, I don't want to mess with that. Like that's an energy that I'm like, whoo, I don't know about. I'll also say Martin Gonzalez, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, as the main guitarist. His guitar work is so incredibly amazing. Like he is able to keep time and keep this very strange and very intense moments going on very, very well. You have Ron Berthist as Bernhost, I think as the bassist, Martin D. Lamia as the keyboardist, and Augusto Basio as the main drummer. And everybody is playing at top notch. And that can be heard right at the very beginning of this track of The Drought, which almost has this like Mars Volta styles of like the Loust, like I can really hear that really aggressive, very quick, very fast and chaotic playing styles, but all in this very like controlled and very gripping manner. I also love just how this band is able to really maintain all the different elements and all the different emotions that are found on here. Like the title track of The Fox and the Bird is so beautiful. It's got this very indie presence on there. It's very accessible. I can feel, this very warm hug on it, which is, a little bit counter of The Drought, which was so aggressive and so bombastic. So you've got these really beautiful and somber moments like the raccoon, the journey, which are very like soothing and somber. But then you get tracks like the snake and the nightmare that are just intense and insane and bombastic, and it feels like a completely different band, but all kind of circling around that same kind of motifs and same kind of expressions. You know, I can't help but just marvel at the amount of different genres that these guys are playing with, and we're not even halfway through the actual runtime. Then we're coming into a track like the Falcon, where it really allows the musicianships to take fold. Like, I'm getting like a Ben Levin from Bent Knee style on here, you know, and Bent Knee is a very good parallel to draw within this, where they're both very progressive, they're both very experimental in that sense, and I could not like get away from the Falcon in being how jazzy, how bopping it is in that sense, like this almost Spanish guitar flavor on there. And the second half of this album is just as strong and just as stellar as the first, you know, coming into the Bear, which features Elizabeth Hall, and Elizabeth makes another appearance on the Mountain as well. And man, the styles and the blending on here. So, you know, you have the Bear, the Bird, and the Rain. All of these tracks are very somber and very, again, intimate and very powerful. And then you have tracks like the Crocodile and the Mountain that are just grating. They're bombastic. They're right in your face. They've got like this power metal aspect towards it. And then like with the Bird and Mountain, and even a little bit within the Bear, you know, you've got this blending, and they're able to shift from one style to another style, like on a drop of the hat. And yeah, with the actual closing of this being the Rain, which is just this very somber, very final kind of like, you know, the rain is the ultimate equalizer on here, and it's what gives breath to the trees and the plants, which a lot of the smaller animals eat, that then create this whole circle of life. And it is an intense listen, you know, from start to finish. And I'm a little saddened that now that I've kind of put out this review, I don't get to go back into it. So this is one that I highly, highly recommend. If you're a fan of the Deer Hunter, if you're a fan of the more experimental side of rock, and you love more modern progressive rock styles, I think you're really, really going to get a kick out of this one. If you're looking for something new, like if you're like me and you're always looking for that new sound, that new approach, you're going to be very satisfied with this, because there is something on here that I had not heard before, and I really loved all these different blending of genres. And they're picking from genres that I really already love and love to listen to. So in that sense, I had a great time. I will say at the end of the day, The Fox and the Bird by OK Goodnight is one that I would absolutely pick up in physical format. This is one of those cases where I would say run, don't walk to go and listen to it. If you haven't listened to it already, highly, highly recommend it. This gets the note seal of approval. You know, this is a 2 thumbs up. I can't think of too many people that would really dislike this one, unless you are somebody that really doesn't like when genres begin to blend, and you like when bands just have one statement and one thing only, and that's it. I will say I have to go back and listen to OK Goodnight's past discography because of how strong this one was. So yeah, give it a spin. I think you'll really enjoy it. And that's it from me. That's it from me today. Thank you all so much for watching. Oh, I guess I should say, have you given this one a listen? And if you did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, please let me know by commenting down below. And if you haven't listened to this yet, please go out and listen to it. I think you'll have a really good time. And then come back and let me know what you thought about this one. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.